Hey everyone, this is my first podcast, an introduction to my YouTube channel in April of 2026. My name is Ed Sherman, I'm a nurse practitioner, and just an overall data geek. I love numbers. And so I just have a couple slides of introduction about what my YouTube channel is about, and then I'll have my first episode later tonight. My background is in a science field, a nurse practitioner, pharma executive at many big pharma companies on the medical side of the business, and my expertise was liver diseases and transplants. I love to dive into numbers whenever a study comes out, and I always find that the data that is presented in the press or in the newspapers is often incorrect, or often leads the consumer to feel like this is causative data and maybe not just associative data. And so I think it's really important. I want to present data in a concise way every day, and also make sure that you're understanding how to analyze data when you're looking at it in the newspaper, etc. You know, in our long history, we get a lot of data from our newscasters, and I think people have been frustrated over the years because one day spinach is good for you, and the next day it's bad for you, as an example. And spinach is good for you, I'm sure, but that's just one of the things that I think over time, when data is presented prematurely, it shouldn't be presented in the press. Likewise, in the 1990s or 2000, Morley Safer stood up with a bottle of wine on 60 Minutes and said, "Drink all you want. This is going to make you live longer." We now know that not everyone can drink endless amounts of red wine and do well. And I want to try to make sure that we do all kinds of fun surveys, studies, data, not just political stuff and not just serious war stuff, etc. We'll do a little of each, but we'll try to make it somewhat fun as well. And so this is just some of the rules I go by. First of all, you can call it data or data, however you want. I always say scientific data and medical data, but I sometimes say, do you have the data? Or it's data-driven medicine. So I use them both, I think, but data is the way I say it. Technically, the dictionary says they're both correct. I'm sure some of you will have strong opinions on that, but keep them to yourselves. But my philosophy is to question everything. Everything you read, period, has bias. Everything you read has someone behind it messaging you. And the same thing for medical studies or social studies. So look at the results yourself if you can. Go to the newspaper, read the title. The title is going to tell you exactly what they want you to hear, but read the article and actually go to the data if you can. They usually have a link. But look at it yourself and never trust someone else's interpretations. I mean, if it's clear and obvious that 100 people took X drug and it worked, and 0 people took placebo and it didn't work, you probably don't need to go look at the data, but I always look at the data. And just remember, everyone in this world has some bias. Some people will benefit from study results, some people will not. Some people, it will help their political cause, and other people, it will help their medical company. So always look at who's the author, where's the source, who might benefit, and question. If you have a company that's going to benefit in their study, you might want to just look a little deeper. But if it's an academic physician and no connection to the company, you might have a better feel for the data. Sample size is important. If you have 10 patients or 10 people voting, you're not going to have a really accurate idea of what's going to happen. The bigger the number generally is better, but not always. And just remember, sometimes drugs or whatever are linked or associated with a Y outcome, but they don't necessarily cause it. You might actually, have dark hair, but it's not because it was caused by the spinach you grew up with. You just happen to eat spinach every day, and it was linked to that. So just think about association and causations are two very, very different things. And I think the press over the years has often made us to believe that there's causation when really there's just linkage that sometimes is proven to be false or not the cause. So no survey is perfect, no person's perfect. We all have different opinions on some of the numbers. So let's just have some good scientific discussion or discussion on the numbers and try to have fun with this. Again, I have no connection to any companies. I'm not endorsing any products. I will have an opinion, and you may not, you may disagree, but that's great. And if it's a medical thing, please go to your doctor and talk to them. I'm not your doctor. So let's have fun. Okay.